U.S. Citizenship Test 2025. Citizenship Interview Practice and English Conversation.
Welcome back to Pathway to Citizenship, the talk show where we make the journey to becoming an American citizen not just educational, but joyful. I'm Anne, your host, and with me today is my favorite guest, Mark, who's been studying hard for his citizenship test. Mark, how's the studying going?
Well, Anne, I'd say it's a roller coaster. Some days I feel like I could teach the Constitution, and other days I forget what year it was written.
1787, just in case you forget again, but that's actually perfect for today's topic, celebrating progress and little victories along the way. Because, Mark, you're not alone in that feeling.
I hope not. Sometimes I look at those 100 civics questions and think, how do people memorize all this?
That's the trap. The citizenship test isn't about memorization. It's about connection. Every question tells a story about how this country grew, and every answer you learn is a small victory. It's like collecting puzzle pieces of America.
That's a nice way to look at it. I guess I should be proud when I remember even one or two pieces.
Exactly. Think of it like climbing a mountain. You don't wait to celebrate only when you reach the top. You stop along the way, take a breath, enjoy the view, and say, I made it this far. Even remembering that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, that's a step closer to your goal.
When you put it that way, I feel a little less guilty for rewarding myself with a donut every time I study.
Perfect. Donuts are patriotic in my book. But seriously, celebrating progress builds motivation. The test isn't just about the day you take it. It's about every day you prepare. Every flashcard, every answer, every English sentence you practice, it's all growth.
I've actually noticed that. I used to be terrified of speaking English, but now I catch myself thinking in English sometimes.
That's a huge milestone. Thinking in English means you're internalizing it. You're not just learning facts, you're living them. For instance, when you think about freedom of speech, you're not just recalling words, you're feeling what that means in daily life.
Yeah, like the idea that I can say what I believe without fear. That really hits home for me. In my old country, that wasn't always safe.
And that's what makes your journey beautiful, Mark. Every question on that test connects to someone's personal story. What is freedom of religion? That's about the right to pray or not pray. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? That's about voices who dared to speak up. When you study, you're not memorizing names, you're joining a legacy.
Wow, I've never thought of it like that. You make history feel alive.
Because it is. History is made of people who believed they could change their world, and now it's your turn to add your chapter. So when you remember even one question, like, who was the first president, and say George Washington with confidence, that's not just a correct answer. That's your voice joining the American story.
You're making me want to celebrate my next quiz already.
And you should. The journey to citizenship is a long road, but it's paved with tiny celebrations. Every time you say a U.S. holiday correctly, or remember that we elect a president for 4 years, you're building not just knowledge, but identity.
You know, I think I'll start keeping a victory notebook. Every time I get something right, I'll write it down.
I love that idea. You'll look back one day and realize how far you've come. And that's the secret to staying motivated. Not focusing on how far you still have to go, but how much you've already achieved.
Then here's my first entry. Today, I remembered the Constitution was written in 1787, and I deserve another donut.
Make it 2, future citizen. You've earned it. So, Mark, last time we talked about celebrating little victories. Now I want to talk about how to turn those small wins into momentum. Because progress isn't just about effort, it's about energy.
That's true. I sometimes feel like I'm running out of steam halfway through my study sessions, especially when I hit the tricky questions. Like, what does the judicial branch do? I know the answer. It reviews laws. But my brain just goes blank sometimes.
That's completely normal. You know what helps? Turning that moment into a game. Instead of saying, I forgot, say, okay, brain, time for a rematch. Treat each mistake like a challenger, not a failure.
I like that. Makes it feel less like school and more like a competition with myself.
Exactly. Every time you get one more right than yesterday, you've already won. And remember, those 100 civics questions cover centuries of history. You're learning in a few months what took generations to build.
Wow, when you put it like that, I'm practically a time traveler.
You are. You're visiting 1776, the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, all in your notebook. Each question is a window into a moment of courage or change. For example, what did Martin Luther King Jr. do? Isn't just about civil rights, it's about persistence, the same kind you're showing by studying every day.
That's inspiring. You make studying sound heroic.
It is. Becoming a citizen is an act of courage. It's saying, I believe in this community enough to become part of it. And every correct answer, like remembering that the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, is one more sign of commitment.
You know, I used to feel embarrassed when I didn't understand a question. But now I think, hey, I'm learning in my second language. That's something to be proud of too.
Absolutely. You're doing double the work of anyone born here. You're learning history and English. That's a victory worth shouting from the rooftops, or at least from your living room.
My neighbors might not appreciate that, but I'll keep it in my heart.
Good compromise. But seriously, Mark, one of the best parts of this journey is that every small success adds up. You don't need to wait until you pass the test to feel proud. You're already achieving something incredible.
I think I get that now. Like when I first learned to drive, I didn't celebrate only when I got my license. I celebrated the first time I didn't stall at a stop sign.
Perfect analogy. Learning the citizenship material is just like that. You'll stumble at first, maybe mix up the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, but one day you'll glide through them with ease. And when you do, remember, you didn't just memorize words, you built understanding.
You know, my daughter asked me the other day, "Dad, what's the rule of law?" And I got to explain it to her. I said, "It means everyone must follow the law, even the president." And she said, "Even me." And I said, "Especially you."
That's a wonderful teaching moment. You see, you're already living like a citizen. Sharing what you learn is one of the best ways to celebrate progress. When you explain a concept, you're proving mastery.
So maybe I should start teaching my friends who are studying too. We could quiz each other.
That's brilliant. Learning together makes it easier and more joyful. You'll be surprised how motivating it is to celebrate others' progress too. It's like a citizenship team, everyone climbing the same mountain, cheering each other along.
That's exactly what I need. It's hard to stay motivated when you study alone.
Well, consider this your study circle, Mark. Every time you join me here, we're celebrating together. And when you finally pass, and you will, we'll look back and say, it wasn't just about the test. It was about every small victory that brought you here.
That actually makes me emotional, Anne, because for the first time, I feel like I'm not just studying, I'm transforming.
You are. Every time you say, we the people, you're reminding yourself that you're part of something bigger. You're becoming not just a citizen on paper, but in heart, mind, and voice.
Then I'll keep celebrating every step, even the small ones.
That's the spirit, Mark, because every small step is America in motion.